It's All Smiles by No Rome. It is 10 songs, 27 minutes long. No Rome's first full project since Indo Hisashi in 2018, which we reviewed and generally liked. He's been on some other things, like he was on Spinning, the track with Charlie XCX in 1975. A couple other things and stuff that he's done here or there, but first full project in a couple of years. Definitely, like with No Realm, like you get a sense of, especially on this album, I feel like he's starting to really branch out into his own voice, into his own thing, because I think there's other records and other things that he's done, he's really relied on other people helping him to make it, or other people helping to contribute and stuff. To me, this is the first real, like, okay, this is just No Realm. Really isn't any, there aren't any features on this record, I don't think, and let's see what he has. And generally, I like it. There's some problems I have of it. But like, I think Space Cowboy as the opening track is a pretty good, like really glitchy indie pop song. Like I actually really like it, especially towards the end where it gets experimental and weird. It's nice to hear that from him, because the past record, you'd see more of that like solid indie pop sound or electro pop sound, which it can get a little monotonous after a while, or like if you have that one trick pony ish with it. But this, you could see him trying to branch out a bit, especially with his vocals too.
Yeah, I think vocally, No Realm shines on this album a lot. I think where I get kind of like where the album gets sort of starts to fall short for me is where I think it has that syndrome where there's a lot of ideas that's kind of throwing out there, and it's not sure which ideas it wants to execute on. And as a result, you get kind of this meandering throughout the album that then gets to feel like, okay, I'm in a weird position where this album sounds very unique and interesting, and yet it is still kind of droning on as though it is stuff I've heard before.
To me, it's just, I didn't drone on at all. For me, it just wasn't very cohesive. Was going to be my big complaint with it. There's a lot of ideas in there, which I like. Like example from, you have Space Cowboy, I Want You, and When She Comes Around. Those are all three very different tracks. And it's nice to hear like the different ideas. Like When She Comes Around, I think is a really, really good like indie track with the way it is. I love like the brazen guitars and stuff in there that it like kind of stops up halfway through and then ends up getting this like glitchy sound and stuff in there. The other tracks are more electronic focused. You still kind of get that glitchy sound here or there where it kind of chops up, stops, starts again and all that. But those three tracks are very different, and it's hard to listen to all three of those and think they belong in the same place, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's where it can go around for me, where it's, but again, like he's a newer artist. It's taking it, you know, I always take everything with a grain of salt. It's definitely nice to hear him branch out, and I'm very impressed with his vocals a lot. Because I think his vocals are very understated on his other records and with all his features as well. I think the features was overtake him. With this, it's nice to really hear him. And it's great.
Yeah.
Like Secret Beach, the 6th song, fantastic. I really like that, the way it's produced. It's almost like a combination of like My Bloody Valentine with bedroom pop, with electro pop. It's like a lot of different sounds into one, so it's very unique in the way it's made.
Yeah. After that you have Remember November / like Bit Crush Your Life, and that there's a bunch of songs with asterisks in them. I'll call them the asterisk songs, I guess. Like also It's Not Love 3-3 Winter in London or whatever. Where it's doing a really, really cool like electronic experimental indie kind of thing. And I mean that like in all the ways. Like it's glitchy, the drums are kind of in a lot of different paces and synchronizations in there. Like it's really cool what's going on there. And as I kind of listen to it again and again, I'm kind of like, I'm glad that they didn't, or No Realm didn't like bunch all of those songs together.
No, they had to be spaced out.
Yeah, they had to be spaced out. But with that spacing out, I still feel like there is some cohesion that's missing. Because yeah, I think maybe drone on is not the phrase I was looking for. But I think what I was trying to say is that these songs have so much unique coming out of them, but yet I come away from the project not with that feeling like, wow, I just heard like a project with a bunch of unique tracks. I've come away from the project going like, okay, I heard a lot of ideas in there, but album-wise, playthrough-wise, I'm not sure exactly where like No Rum is trying to take this. I want him to decide and like paint that path a little bit, or if it's like a bunch of different paths, space that out or organize that out in the right way. Just like set yourself up for us to be able to see that vision without the distractions.
Yeah, and with it, it leaves me wanting more, which is a good and a bad thing because I mean, it was 3 years that Rip into Hisashi was released, so he takes a bit time between his work, which is fine with me. Like the more time, the better. But now with this, is okay. Next project, next EP, next record, whatever it is, I want more cohesion with it. Now you have a lot of these different ideas, different sounds, which are very unique, and I really haven't heard that much of. Some of it can sound a little similar, but a lot of those tracks are very unique in the way he makes them. So now you have those ideas. Now try to make those ideas into newer sounds and newer tracks, and then make it cohesive and make it flow, which is very difficult in the way that it is structured. I mean, with experimental stuff, it's always hard to do, but it has been done before. Like one of my favorite artists, Neon Indian, you could do it and make a experimental glitchy pop, like almost bridging the gap between hyper pop and indie and making it into a record. And you can't do that. It's very hard to do. But if you do that, then that's going to be one of the best records we'll hear of that year. It's just not many people do it.
And I also don't even think he needs to go that far because Remy Wolf, who released her album a couple months ago, we reviewed just last week, isn't like that far reaching and like I'm gonna push all the boundaries of indie, but it pushes quite a lot of boundaries in indie and does a lot with the sound and production work to get like kind of that like squeaky synthy sound and noise to it, and like that all lands pretty successfully with the range that's doing now. I think it's trying to like I think that album decided more with its range and kept to it for its benefit. And yeah, No Rum can decide to a different range and keep to that, and it'll be for his benefit as well. But yeah, I definitely am not discouraged. I just want to see more, and with every like project that No Rum releases, I think I become a little more clear on how I think No Rum's direction should go. But of course, that is fully in the right of No Rum to decide and take that. I will just be along for the ride.
Yeah, and he also had the EP I forgot, Crying in the Prettiest Places in 2019. And I actually didn't like that one as much compared to Rip into Hisashi, but I think this record with It's All Smiles is a really big step in the right direction for him. So excited for him. Let's see what happens. I genuinely like it. There's a lot of good sounds in here. So do that what you will. Do with that what you will, I should say.
Yeah, I do remember Stone in the Valley, or at least you mentioned it as a new single from No Rum in 2019 when it came out. I remember that name. Arbitrary Scale.
But yeah, we have coach sports manager sackings. This is Anthony Lynn from your Carson Chargers that got fired earlier this year.
Wait, when? Why did that happen?
I don't actually know because I don't really follow NFL. I just remember all of my gym members talking about it because they're big Chargers fans, and every time they do that, I'm like, "Your Carson Chargers." It was just beautiful to watch because they're a clusterfuck of the team that have never won anything, nor are they going to anytime soon.
I'm gonna go a little bit out of the range for sports manager sackings. I'm gonna go sports management sackings.
Oh,
this is EA getting rid of FIFA, dropping it like a hot rock.
I'll allow because it's arbitrary and who gives a fuck, and that makes me happy because I hate EA with a passion.
No, it's like, which do you hate more, EA or FIFA?
It's like that's a damn
thinker.
good question.
That's a thinker
right there.
No, I will again tie it into the album somehow. It's just a lot. You're going for a lot. EA is just going, yeah, we just don't need FIFA anymore. That's a lot. That's a lot. You just go into the details of what that means, but you're probably right. You're probably right. EA doesn't need FIFA. They just need the licensing for the teams, which FIFA itself does not have. EA does. So their move. #no sports. Anyways,